Welcome to Tu-Vie Podcast, a Tu-Vie podcast. This is kind of how this whole works. A TV movie entertainment needs podcast, but instead of the actual Tu-Vie podcast, we're doing a segment. This is episode 2 of Cinema Showcase, a place where movies get their spotlight. You guys like that? It's a good tag. Kind of.
That is a good thing.
I know. I
I
kind
kind of zoned out.
Well, look at the pro
of
over
sweet,
here.
man. No, good to know you're present and aware for this podcast.
Is
Today we're going to be talking about Hot Fuzz.
9
Love this
a.m.
movie. This was actually Cameron's choice.
I do love this movie quite
was-
a lot.
This was chosen a while ago. They just now had time. So pretty much what we're doing is we're going over this movie. Cinema showcases where movies get their spotlight, where we haven't seen a movie in a while, or it's a movie we all haven't seen and we're watching it and we're talking about it here. So it's everything. Cameron's getting he's getting a little jiggy with it.
I gotta.
To stay
If I
away.
don't,
This is
if I
Cameron's
don't, I
podcast.
die.
I'm ready for it.
It's like Crank, but instead of he has to do anything to
Yeah.
keep his heart rate up, he just can't stop
I have to
dancing.
keep my heart rate above
6
2.
beats. Yeah. All right. Let's get into this. So Hot Fuzz, what does it stand for you guys in the Cornetto trilogy?
The best. Easily.
The best. Colin?
Mhm.
I'm gonna be a little bit controversial. Their Cornetto trilogy is. Did I say that right?
Yeah, the Cornetto. Cornetto.
Hot Fuzz is a masterpiece. It's flawless.
Great.
It's. I don't know how anybody else feels, and this isn't even about this movie in particular, but World's End is my personal favorite based off of like nostalgia.
Wow.
Yeah, like World's End has a special place in my heart. Mostly because my parents couldn't take me to the theaters, and I had to I spent like an entire day to try to find a website where I could watch it for free. So just that grind that allowed me to be like, okay, I can watch this. But we're talking about that. But Hot Fuzz is like number two.
I asked you about the Cornetto trilogy, so that's part of it. And it's weird because then my favorite is Shaun of the Dead.
Oh
So-
wow, we all have a different one. Okay, that's cute.
We are the Cornetto trilogy.
Wow.
We're the physical embodiment of it.
So you know Dylan James, right?
Yeah.
Dylan today, when he's in the Marines and he has his head shaved, he looks exactly like Simon Pegg from
Oh, really?
Hot Fuzz. And
Wow. So he looks like this?
he literally looks like that.
Wow,
And
look at that.
half the time when I hang out with you, I swear you're Nick Frost from Hot Fuzz or Shaun of the Dead. And that's a huge compliment because
Okay.
everyone loves Frost. Like that's it's not an insult at all. It's
No, I
just
know.
like
I think he was funnier in this
you
one
have-
than he was in all the other ones. Is it just me? Like I think this one, Nick Frost is funniest.
Nick Frost was like the serious guy in World's End until he started drinking, and that's when like the gags go in. But enough about me. Like I want to hear you guys talk about Hot Fuzz because
Yeah. So I do got a little bit of a notes page here I kind of want to go over. So the movie Hot Fuzz, of course, this movie is a fantastic movie. It's a really, really good, I'd say, police crime drama. Very funny. I know. Drama was just the kick out word. Super funny police comedy.
My brain.
So buddy cop plot. It's so buddy cop. Love it. It was released in 2007. The director was Edgar Wright, as we all know, which is going to be carrying on to something else. Writers were Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg, starring Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, and briefly, this is the top 3 that has Martin Freeman, which is in the opening monologue, the opening scene, and as well as a few fun little surprise cameos with Bill Nye, Stephen Coogan, and a third one I'm going to kind of save.
I know that
talk about something. I think we all know the third one. I'm going to kind of just save it kind of towards the end. A synopsis for those who may not know, because this movie, this whole episode, spoiler warning. We're going into it. We're going into everything. Here you go. A skilled London police officer, I actually said cop, police officer, after irritating superiors with his embarrassing effectiveness, is transferred to a village where the easygoing officers object to his fervor for regulations as a string of grisly murders strikes the town. I was trying to get the whole little... Colin, be disappointed all you want. I had fun with this. Quick question, little trivia thing all around. How much do you think it was made? In pounds, not U.S. currency. I do have the estimated transition.
At least 2.
At least £2?
Yeah.
Okay. Colin, what's your estimated budget for this in pounds?
1.5 pounds.
Okay.
I don't know.
Like, okay, it's eight.
Wait, so hold on, wait, but before I
it's
answer,
8 million pounds. The budget for this movie is 8 million pounds, estimated around 10,062,120 bucks for U.S. currency.
That's pretty good. That's pretty
Not that bad. It's really
pretty
good for what it
effective
is.
budget.
Very good budget, with an opening of 5,837,000 in the U.S. dollars. Total gross of U.S. and Canada was $23,637,265, and gross worldwide was $80,743,336. So to say it was a success,
yeah, they made their money back.
They made their money back easily. I mean, 8 times over, which is very good because this movie absolutely rules.
And also, I don't think anybody, I don't, it's a weird assumption, but like, even though Edgar Wright is like a genius and a mastermind, but like Simon Pegg is a huge collaborator with Edgar Wright.
Yeah,
like, he makes, like, he helps make like the decisions, you know, as what, like, going, like, you know, and you definitely see that with Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and even World's End. Like, I think, did Simon Pegg get a writing credit on
I
this?
think he co-wrote every movie in the Cornetto trilogy.
For this movie, at least, he did get a writing credit. Absolutely, he did. And actually, out of the Cornetto trilogy, it is number 2 in the highest of the IMDb scores, with Shaun of the Dead with a 7.9. This is 7.8, and World's End with a 6.9.
I think World's End gets a really bad rep.
I think it does.
It is very underrated.
It's not that bad. It's not 6.9 bad.
It's not even bad in general.
It's not bad. It's not bad, but it's
so
not
good.
That bad. It's not 6.9 bad.
That's why you never use IMDb as a good gauge for film criticism.
No, I'm only just using it for trivia here, so
Yeah,
really. Yeah, there's some of the stuff I can kind of go into near the end, but overall, I mean, so we all rewatched this movie for this because I don't know when the last time you guys watched it, but
it didn't even feel like a chore.
No, it's so fun. It's so fun. It's just a funny movie. Like, I love the opening shot with Simon Pegg, and the door's already open, but he's like 10, not even that feet away. It's like a 2-minute walk. Just pure clocking.
That was some like ASMR, hearing the footsteps.
It
like
was. It was nice.
Slowly.
Nice. Yeah. Cameron, what do you think? What's your favorite thing about this movie? I mean, it was your pick, so.
I think my favorite thing about this movie is that it's such like a tightly written comedy movie that uses visual comedy in a very effective way, and it's just a love letter to every action movie ever made. And
absolutely,
I love that every like line, every joke has a callback later on in the film. Every time I watch it, I catch something new.
Yeah.
Like, it's just effective, funny. I think it's not a parody, it's more of a pastiche.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good stuff.
It's good stuff. Absolutely. And also, it gave us the age-old question of Point Break or Bad Boys 2.
Yeah.
Which one first, of course.
Yeah, which one do you want to watch first? So good.
Which one do you think I would like?
No, which one do you want to watch first?
No, that's what Simon Pegg says. Is like,
I know,
you know,
but I thought you were completing
He was completing the quote.
I was kind of completing it, but I was making sure that like we got Simon Pegg's line in.
Yeah, swing and a miss, buddy.
Yeah. We try.
we gotta move on with some stuff. We gotta keep the energy flowing here, boys. We're dipping a little bit. Favorite bit in this movie?
Early in the morning, James.
Hey, this is how we do
It's
this.
very early in the morning.
That's how we do it, guys. Favorite bit in this movie? Colin, go.
My favorite bit in the movie was the theater. Like when like Simon Pegg and Nick Frost's character is in the theater, and like the play is getting worse and worse, and it's so quick, but like Simon Pegg's like,
yeah,
it's like Edgar, like he knows slapstick comedy, like I physical comedy. I don't know how you call it, but if he has like a good team behind him, like you can make some of the dumbest and silliest things that are so hard to pull off in modern day. Like if you have the right person with the job or the right director And it's obviously a collaborative effort, because I know that Edgar Wright isn't the only mastermind behind all of this stuff, because you get like small little like hints and breadcrumbs, like what Cameron just said. It's like every time you watch that movie, like you notice something new every time. Like you literally, like, in the dressing room, like you see like the mannequin with the head decapitated, which is like foreshadowing of like decapitated. It's just those small. What's up?
What?
I said, see, I didn't catch that. I've never.
Yeah. No, the mannequin thing was definitely a new one for me.
It's literally a single like frame. If you miss, like, it's a hitter. Like, if you don't notice it, you're never gonna see it. But Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg and everybody else, even like their production team behind it, like they love little, like, Edgar Wright's such a huge fan of like, letting everybody know what his movie's gonna be about within like the first whatever seconds, or blah blah blah, or like even giving you small like cues here every now and then. And you think that, like, it's just like a throwaway line, or just, it's too obvious to be true, but like it is, but like on a higher level.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the third surprise cameo I really wanted to come back to, was Timothy Dalton literally admitting in the first second we get to meet him that he's the bad guy.
I'm a slasher.
I'm a
savage killer. Yeah, I must be stopped. He's like, of prizes. It's so good. And I don't know why. Is it just me, or does Timothy Dalton kind of look like Daniel Day-Lewis?
In this, I can see.
Yeah. Not in the James Bond movies. In this movie. In this movie alone, I was, when I first watched
like
it,
the mustache, the black hair. It's very. Yeah. There will be blood of him.
Yes, that's the one I'm thinking of. Good, thank you. And when I first saw it years ago, I'm like, is that Daniel Day-Lewis in an Edgar Wright movie?
In this silly cop movie?
I was like, this man has range. Way to go, man. He's showing his Oscar. But yes, Timothy Dalton is the killer in this movie.
Showing his range.
Yeah. In the first 15 minutes, we get to meet the killer. He admits to the guilt, and just everything from there pans to be Timothy Dalton, because it's like, are we ignoring with what he said? He's there at every crime scene. He's playing a song about how they died, but then he gets you. He gets you with the twist, because it's a group effort. And I love Cameron's review.
Yeah,
he said, I want you to take care of that, because that's a great movie.
On this rewatch, I really enjoyed how like they created a fully like reasonable conspiracy of why these people were killed, for economic and like reasons. Like, he was gonna open up a supermarket, they were gonna like build a road through, and then the real explanation is we just didn't like him. He was bad at acting. His house was ugly.
His house didn't match the aesthetic of the place.
Big bushy
beard. And I liked how every single time something went wrong, they got like ice cream or cake.
Yeah.
It was so good. I also was very shocked of the amount of cast.
The murder that killed me was just seeing that statue, and he just like, he's in that dead.
Yes.
Like, real quickly before James, like, you move on, I do want to ask you guys, this was a question I wanted to ask y'all. When was the first time you watched Hot Fuzz?
Ooh. I think I was, Cameron, you went to this? I got to think about it.
I think I was like in 7th grade.
I
was gonna say 7th or 8th grade. I remember being sick.
Yeah, I just remember like
sick.
That was when I was getting into film, and like I just heard the movie come up a lot, and I think it was on Netflix at the time, so I just like threw it on.
It was on Netflix for the longest time.
That's how I first watched it.
Yeah, I think I watched it on Netflix.
And then I watched Shaun of the Dead, and then I watched World's End, and then I watched Scott Pilgrim, and
your third eye was awoken.
Every other movie he's made, I've seen in the theater.
God.
I don't think I have actually seen an Edgar Wright movie in the theater. Now I think about it.
Man, Baby Driver goes hard in a movie theater.
I know. That's the one I really regret. And that actually will actually be answered in the next podcast. You guys go check out in episode 19. Or is it 18? I think it's 19.
18.
It's 19. The one after this. Same, just look at the day it was posted. But my favorite death in the movie, Colin, is it's the most gruesome, but it's the one where he pushes the top of the church.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
It's only my favorite because of the shock value. It's like I forgot that was in the movie.
It's so gross.
And I was watching that at school, and I just was like, this is not the movie, but it's so.
That was like my first encounter with like gore as a kid.
Really?
Yeah, it freaked me out.
Sure, yeah, it freaked me out, but it's just so like the reason why it's my favorite is because it's just so like perfectly played with the suspense and the fear, and then it's just
It's
crushing.
also like a freaking cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. It had like the boys level of like, you remember in season 3 when like that girl, she was gonna jump, but then she didn't decide to jump.
Yeah.
And when she
the
like
opposite Superman panel.
Flatted like a balloon. Like
the reverse Superman panel of the boys. That's Homelander's Superman.
Like it just had that level of like whimsical like gore and explosion. Like Edgar Wright.
Whimsical is a unique word I'd use.
It definitely is whimsical because Edgar Wright has a level of like, he has a horror bone in him, which is definitely shown in Last Night in Soho. And like,
I never did. I forgot that the movie came out. Was that any good?
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
It's fun.
I thought it was good. I mean,
probably...
it wasn't amazing, and it's definitely not my favorite Edgar Wright movie, but it's definitely, it's worth the watch. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, it looked like a good one. I like the cast. Cast was stacked.
There's like these. My favorite part of that movie. There's like these dancing scenes where Anya Taylor-Joy and Thomasin McKenzie just keep switching, and it's like seamless. It's crazy. It's really cool.
Yeah. Just some notes I made during this movie. I don't know why, but I loved the mumbling gag that they did for both of those characters. Bob Walker, and then the old guy from Game of Thrones. With the C bomb. It's like and he hits the thing, and you hear all the clinking, and they have to run out of the place, and nothing happens. And like, oh, it's a dud. He goes, yeah, you're done, and just keep kicking it. It's so funny, dude.
I love when they're like, it's deactivated. He's like, deactivated.
That gag.
It's so good. And then Nick is like, oh, they get working, and just straight up soccer kicks it. Oh, it's so good. I also didn't realize
when it finally
Lurch,
blows up at the end.
Yeah, it finally blows up at the end. Lurch, the town dummy, is the Hound.
Yeah, I watched this before I watched Game of Thrones, and once I realized that the Hound was Yarp, it made the Hound much harder to take seriously.
Yeah, well, it was opposite for me. I watched Game of Thrones, then this movie again. I didn't put the two together.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that Yarp was the Hound. I could see how you could take him less serious because you just get Yarp.
But luckily, the Hound is so intimidating that like it was like 5 minutes where I was like, "You're Yarp," and then I was like, "You're scary, dude."
It's not even his name, Yarp, but it's like how everyone knows him as the Yarp guy. Or even the swan bit where he's like, "Can you describe the perpetrator?" It's like, well, it was about 2 foot tall, orange beak, long neck. Like any other features? He's like, it's a swan. And then it's this one that's becomes like an ex machina at the end of the movie. It comes to saving grace.
Yeah, crashes the car.
It's so good. And apparently, it was a swan's like wings are apparently strong enough to break a person's arm. That's what I remember reading.
That's horrifying.
Something like that. Yeah, I remember reading that on IMDb. Could be crap. I don't know, but just thought it was a fun thing to kind of throw out here.
I think they have teeth too, which is also freaky.
They do have like little tiny little like little great. Spawns are scary as
Oh,
crap. No, quick little more fun facts for you. I'm gonna slowly veer through them. I got a lot of them. Both Simon Pegg and Nick Frost got attached to their two shotguns that they had, at the end of the movie that they did a lot of rehearsal for. And they got attached to them so much that they actually named them. Simon named his Sarah and Nick named his Emma. Thought that'd be kind of neat. Don't know if those names were important, but there's that.
I'm just imagining, it was Emma that killed me because I just heard Nick Frost's voice just fade up, be like, Emma. I don't know.
Yeah. It'd be pretty. Yeah, I mean, it's great names for their shotgun.
I would
Easily.
have killed to have just been able to work on that set.
Oh yeah.
That would.
And it was shot on location.
No, they shot on location. That's a real town.
Straight up, and that's not cheap or easy.
Imagine living in that town and having that movie.
Just randomly having it be like, hey, we're gonna take your streets up for a few hours. Just go about your day.
It's just imagine growing up in that town and having that movie to watch and be like, this happened here.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. A little small town love.
We have to take a trip. We have to take a trip
to that town.
Yeah. Let's fund it. Subscribe to
it. I'll be the guy who falls on top of the.
That was rough. It hurts. Which is, by the way, a horrible way to go.
He's not dead.
He didn't even die.
Just go. Just have it like a. Ugh.
Oh.
I know.
Right? Horrible way to go.
No, I know. The way I said it, man, it sounded like he died. He didn't die, which is
it's also very, very funny that nobody dies at the end of the movie.
Nobody dies. Also, they don't really kill a lot of people too.
Well, the murderers killed people, but
no, I meant Nick and
yeah, they didn't really.
They maimed them, or had a plant fall on their head.
Because at the end, they're all doing the paperwork.
Yeah.
I think the Neighborhood Watch Alliance guy died, but that's because of the sea mine, not.
Oh, well, yeah, I think once a sea mine goes off and it takes away the whole building, you're with it.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of hard to kind of get up and walk out of.
For Danny, apparently.
Dude, no, Danny, this guy's a stud, okay? This guy could get hit with the head with a trash can and walk away like it's nothing, which is my favorite bit in the entire movie.
He's like,
just
off.
Bam, just straight in the face. Wedding costume, Nick Frost and Simon Pegg were often assumed to actually be police officers, and many strangers would ask them for directions. And instead of telling them the truth, they just went along with it. They claimed it made him feel more powerful, which is kind of nice.
I get that. That's fun.
That's fun. It's like when you're playing in costume and you actually think you can fly and stuff like that. It's fun. Both Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg moms were the judges in the Best Kept Village competition. Nick Frost agreed. Yeah,
I love that.
It's super nice. Nick Frost only agreed to do the film if he could get to name his character. He was also asked to watch over 20 action films to warm up for the role. He only watched one. That one being Bad Boys 2.
Naturally.
I mean, that's the best way to stay in character for sure.
Fun fact, my best friend, Tay, that was the first movie he ever saw in a theater.
Bad Boys 2?
Yep. As a small child.
I was gonna say, he's our age, isn't he?
Yeah.
And then
he got a pretty good initiative to how life works.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't that one where they stopped the Ku Klux Klan in the beginning of the movie?
Yeah.
It's a rough way to start your childhood in movies.
That's Michael Bay.
Yeah, and mine was The Incredibles, So
is that the one you remember, or is that the one you actually went to?
I think my parents technically took me to Shrek when I was a kid, but the first one I remember was The Incredibles.
So that first one you remember is The Incredibles?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think we all saw The Incredibles in theaters. I don't remember ever watching it. First one I remember actually ever watching was The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton. That was my first movie theater experience. But I was 6.
6-year-old you has terrible taste.
Whoa!
Shut up.
Conversation for another time.
We'll bring it up on our Marvel's Todd takes again. When hopefully this time the corruption won't go to the file. That was really bad, really bad day. Colin, what was your first movie you actually saw in the theaters and then remembered?
I do, like, I'm being real, like, Incredibles was my first movie theater experience, but I think it was like one of those sit down, like, there's like a table in front of you and like you can eat. I don't know if those theaters were. I remember that like the theater was like super nice, but I only remember the
like a movie house, eatery, studio, movie grill kind of thing. Okay, sorry, I don't know why I was thinking like a foldable like table you see at like birthday parties or something. I don't know why.
But I only remember the last part of the Incredibles when like the mole man from the Fantastic Four comes out from the ground and
the Underminer.
The Underminer. And that's the only thing that I remember. But I was like super super young. But that was my first movie theater like experience that I remember. I'm sure that my parents probably. My dad took me to see 300 when I was 6.
No shot.
Yes. He was on a date.
Oh my God.
Went with him.
Wow.
Dude, I remember I mean I told Cameron that like you got an initiative of life that his friend, but like I was like people are making these movies, they're horrible people. Because like I'm seeing him go like there's a Sparta and then kicks that guy into the ledge and I'm like, is
so
he
you
okay?
thought as like a little kid you're like, Daddy, are they really killing him?
Dude, I remember I had so much anxiety that like after the theater I threw up.
My God.
I swear to God, I threw up. I was not well. And looking back when like my dad was like around, I was like, this what happened. We had a good laugh about it. But Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, sorry. A few other things I do want to wrap up with. I mean, we're getting close to. So the dog, Saxon, the one that just really only barks, was actually not allowed to become a real police dog for being too friendly.
Oh,
He was for being too nice.
That's nice.
He's like, yeah, off the force. You're too nice. You're licking people's faces too much. Kind of like
no, can't say that.
What'd you say, Cameron?
Go be a real dog.
Go live your life. Pee on fences.
You don't need a job. Enjoy retirement.
You had one shift. That's all you need.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how I feel like all of us go. After the success of Shaun of the Dead, Simon and Edgar, they were the writers of that movie, were given free reign to do whatever they wanted with their next film, which then now, for being Hot Fuzz, took about 18 months to write. I feel like for that kind of movie, it's very short. Yeah. For this level of just like complexity.
Yeah, so many like moving bits and pieces as far as like just jokes and building the bit.
And not even that, but just like, how do you make a bland start of a story end so incredibly? Yeah. Like a simple catch the killer, the guy, he's the guy, but you can't prove it. And when you try and prove it, it actually goes wrong. And it goes very wrong. Then it's not the guy. It's actually many guys. And these guys are trying to kill you. The priest has 2 sliding pistols. Like, quite the jump. But it's so good. And I feel like Edgar Wright is the only one that could do it. What?
Perfect escalation.
Absolutely. Final thoughts on this movie is that it's truly a perfect buddy cop, up there with Lethal Weapon, and just I feel like it sets the standard for comedic buddy cops.
21 Jump Street as well.
21 Jump Street's a good one. It's pretty much the American This.
I think this is the greatest comedy of all time.
Of all time.
I think that this is one of the greatest comedies of all time. I don't know what number 1 is, so that's why I'm saying 1.
Well, I can answer that. The Flash. I watched that last night.
We're not going to talk about later.
I just want to let you know, I watched that last night. I wasn't bored, but I wasn't entertained.
I don't want this episode to be tainted.
It's not. But all I know is that.
What a final shot, by the way. Came up on my Twitter.
Oh, that CGI tooth popping out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
I don't think you
God.
understand. I physically was hurt 10 years for that.
I felt like it was longer than 10
It
years,
did.
right?
The only and I said this to Colin, the only redeemable quality was Sasha. She was too good for this movie.
Man.
Yeah.
Way too good for this movie. Sorry, yeah. I don't want the Flash to have its taint in our episode. Cameron, what would you say is Colin, wrap it up. What would you say is a thing you'd say about this movie? So this is your movie. You chose this, and on Cinema Showcase, each one of us have chosen the movie. The last episode that's gonna be posted first before this was Colin's, and it was Cloverfield, the Cloverfield movie, the very first one. And since this is, and as we do movies, part of a trilogy, we watch that next movie. So if we do this again, I mean, we'll just do it. It doesn't have to be your choice, but again for the movie would be World's End, and then Shaun of the Dead just kind of go back from 3 to 1, and then his is going to be, you get the whole thing. Why would you choose this movie as the whole episode?
I think it's just again, I think it's the best comedy of all time. And just like it has a very special place in my heart. And it's one of the movies that made me want to make movies.
All right, that's a good answer. Colin, why do you think this is just so well done?
I think it's so well done because I think it's a huge compliment. You know, if you don't really have like a reason to explain why you like that movie, but like the way I've watched it, like it's one of those feel good movies that you can rewatch it over and over and over again, but you're enjoying yourself. It's like genuinely, it's a treat, but sometimes a treat that you can abuse because it's so that good. You know, it has when you learn more and more about like how they made that movie, the filmography of Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, and Nick Frost being like, you know, collaborators with Edgar or even outside of Edgar when they were in Paul, like there's just so much to love about this movie that, you know, it's really unexplainable. It is that good because it is good. And not even good because that's an understatement, because all three of us can proudly say that we love this movie.
Yeah, I say it proudly because this movie's really stupid good.
It's on my top 4 in Letterboxd. So.
I did notice that when I was looking kind of through my Letterboxd stuff that it's in your top 4. I didn't realize that.
It's one of my favorites ever.
Yeah, it's super good.
What's that?
Huh?
What's number 1 on your Letterboxd?
It is
The Flash
called Short Term 12.
I do not know that. I gotta give that one a watch.
It is delightful. It'll
definite. It's a good way to call that. Yeah. Colin, you got any final notes?
Edgar Wright's a genius. And I think that his Ant-Man film would have been perfect.
Don't get me started.
I know.
I keep forgetting he was supposed to direct Ant-Man.
He was supposed to direct it, and they used some of his scripts, which I felt was kind of weird. Like,
and they used Paul Rudd. He was responsible.
We would have lived in a different, probably better world,
more happy world.
You Gosh,
have you guys the worst time?
Have you guys recently watched that test footage of what Edgar Wright did for the Ant-Man movie?
No, I didn't know it was out.
No, like you can find it somewhere online. Like it looks like a different movie. Like it
Karen,
really...
what was that thing you were saying a second ago?
What?
You just said something a second ago.
Yeah, I interrupted you. I'm sorry, buddy.
It's all right.
No.
About Ant-Man.
Move on.
Okay.
It's a sore spot for him.
Yeah. Okay. It hurts my heart to think about.
It does. I think the movie could have been fantastic. And not that Ant-Man is bad now, but I just think, you know, in scale of what it could be, would have been really good. I think we would have gotten well, hold on. You said he's responsible for Paul Rudd in like a bad way?
No, like he's who got him casted.
Okay. Just want to make sure. I'm like, that's not in a bad way because Paul Rudd's perfect for Scott. Just want to make sure. Yeah, so if you guys are interested in watching Hot Fuzz, it is currently on Max. It's on HBO Max, but I'd say it's also probably at your local DVD store, whatever that be. You can buy all 3 of the Cornetto trilogy in one box now.
I got it on Vudu. I got all 3 of them on Vudu.
I have a physical media. That's how I roll.
Do you think you're better than us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I got
Actually,
physical
yeah.
media. I could. By the way, if your thing's off, but Colin remembers this. Do you remember when I bought the complete Office series when we were in middle school?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "It's on Netflix. You can watch it on Netflix." Guess who's laughing now?
Yeah.
I can watch it whenever.
James was thinking about long-term.
I was thinking like,
goals
it's
for
not
all
going to
of
be
us.
on there forever. It's going to get more expensive. I also have the complete series of Friends.
You should be quieter about that.
What I'm trying to say is, if you want to watch Friends without having to use
Hold
a
on.
subscription,
Wait,
you got to
wait.
pay me now.
Wait,
I'm
hold
your
on.
subscription service.
Cameron, and be completely honest. What's your opinion about Friends?
It's boring.
I respect it.
I mean, I used to be a big Friends fan. I look back, there are some episodes that are super funny, super creative episodes, but that's like very small in terms of how many seasons went on. Like,
I don't know if this is going to get me in trouble, but Jennifer Aniston's character, Rachel, I do not stand. I cannot stand.
of the list of people, she's not the number top.
Like, I'm not saying Jennifer Aniston as a person, she's a sweetheart in real life, but her character, it kind of ruined it for me.
Have you seen the SNL skit where it's like Jennifer Aniston always sounds shocked as Rachel? It's so funny. There's like a collab. It's like a collaborate. It's a compilation of all the moments where she goes, "Oh, oh." I've never noticed how often she actually does say it. So if you go back and watch Friends, it happens so much.
Don't
Not
you
that it
hate
diminishes
it
the character.
sitcoms? Like in sitcoms, like you know how like there's like one character in the main character group and they have a crush on another person, but the other person doesn't know they have a crush on them, but you know they work together. But then when
That's
they
the whole show.
But when they drift off and they meet other people, those other people actually are better for them, but the writers have to like later last minute write them in a bad way to be like, okay, this is actually, you know, we're not.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see that. And just actually before we wrap up, this is for everyone here. This is so off topic, and this is how we roll at Tu-Vie. Welcome to Tu-Vie. Were they, Rachel and Ross, on a break?
Yes.
Okay. Cameron?
I think they should just get away from each other. They don't seem to be.
So that's yes?
I think they need to get a restraining order against each other.
Okay. So that's yes, I'm assuming. I think it's a hard yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I kind of agree. I think they were on a break. Did Ross act right? No. He should have taken the night off. He should not have gone out. So no one's perfect.
It wasn't planned though. It wasn't like targeted.
Well, I know, but still, like he shouldn't have. He still shouldn't have like gone out with that girl. Like
I don't know.
I don't know. I remember you just started randomly posting all of the DreamWorks actors with their characters side by side.
Yeah.
It was like
it's the greatest
images.
Era of promotional material.
I do kind of miss that. I would love to see like actors with their CGI Marvel DC characters do that.
What is he doing? What's he doing?
Like, who's the guy that played Darkseid? Who's the guy that played Darkseid in Zack Snyder's Justice League?
I don't know.
Colin, I was kind of counting on you.
I know. I have it in my head. It was like Ray or
Ray Porter.
Ray Porter.
I would have loved to see Ray Porter and like Darkseid playing like patty cake or something in those kind of promotionals.
Josh Brolin and Thanos doing an awkward prom photo.
Yes, that's it. That's it. It's like Surtur's foot and the guy that. Oh, that's the thumbnail for Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good way to wrap it up. It's a great way to get into it. If you guys have not seen Hot Fuzz, like I said, it's on Max. Please go watch it. It is truly a fantastic movie. It is so good. It gets better with every single rewatch, even if you know how it ends.
It truly does.
It's just
Every
so
time I
good.
watch it, it gets better.
It's so good. It's so good. I can't help but smile out. And I actually showed my dad it. He didn't hate it. He liked it.
Oh, you like?
Yeah. He likes a lot. He just doesn't. He was getting a little sick on how fast the cameras were moving and changing. So, that's the one gripe he had. But thank you guys again for watching. That was Cinema Showcase, where cinemas get their spotlight. So that was it. And we'll see you guys next time.